Inside Cougar Football.
Rex makes the catch. 10-5 touchdown!
Inside Cougar Football with Isaac Rex. Sponsored by Economics Partners on Cougar Sports Saturday.
All right, Cougar fans, this is a special podcast edition, Cougar Sports Saturday, Cougar Tracks hybrid episode because General Conference is happening this weekend. BYU football's got a Friday night game, so it's a podcast edition of your weekly interview, Inside Cougar Football with Isaac Rex, and it's brought to you by Economic Partners. Mitch, Harper, Matt, Baiamonte. I always check in every single week with BYU captain and tight end Isaac Rex. And Isaac, BYU Cincinnati getting ready for a Friday night game against the Bearcats. How has this week gone in practice, coming back from the first loss of the season?
Shorter week, so you don't have a lot of time to sulk, about, last week. It was obviously a tough loss. We obviously felt like, we were in positions in that game where we should have won, and, some things happened that didn't go our way. There's no time to sulk, The great thing about being a conference is one loss doesn't define you fully. There's a lot of different ways that you can make your goals in a conference. And so, we're excited about Cincinnati. We get to play at home, a nice Friday night game, and then you get a bye after. So it's, we're going to give everything we got this week.
Isaac, you touched on the conference element of the game last week against Kansas. Does it just feel different, even in a loss, knowing that, hey, there's still a lot more to play for than previous years?
Yeah, when you're independent, one loss you're kind of done. Sadly, if in terms of going to the playoff or to a BCS bowl or a New Year's Six bowl, and that's how that 2021 season went. We go 10-2. We lose to a really good Baylor team. Sadly, we lose to Boise State, but we're 10-2, and we get put in the Independence Bowl. And obviously we felt like we were better than that. We were ranked 14th in the nation or 13th or something to that matter. And that's so frustrating as a team to know, if you lose a game even in the middle of the season, that you could be, sadly, it's the same as going 6-6, and if that makes sense, you're scheduled for a specific bowl when you're independent. So being in the Big 12 is important, and obviously every loss hurts equally. You never want to lose games, and that's, it's rare that there's an undefeated team, at the end of the season, maybe two in all of college football. So, losses, may come. Obviously your goal is to be undefeated, but no, it's definitely, you get a new perspective after a loss. You're like, this is not the end of the world. We have, a lot of games to play, a lot of really fun games to play. So it should be, we definitely have a more positive outlook and attitude on things.
What were your takeaways from that Kansas loss? I know it's probably a distant memory already, but just your takeaways from how that game played out and maybe the opportunity that was missed.
Yeah, just self-inflicted wounds. When you give the other team 14 points on offense and two, pick six or a fumble return and a pick six, you'll never win that game ever. So, it was just self-inflicted wounds by the offense. I felt the defense played really amazing. I felt like our offense played really well at times. We were really driving the ball on them, and we had a lot of explosive plays, but that's just what happens sometimes, in games. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. A lot of things we can work on, learn from, and we'll get back to it this week.
Have you got a sense of how this team is responding to a little adversity, maybe contrasting that against last year's group?
Yeah, I feel like, guys are still working this week. We still had a tough week of practice. I feel like last year's team, maybe there was a lot of complaining going on. A lot of guys that, weren't weren't really buying into maybe the BYU culture as well as we probably should have. But Last year's team, we lost 4 in a row, but then we won 4 in a row to, cap off a good season. 8-5. It's not amazing, but that's just how it went. But through all the things we dealt with, 8-5 we'll take. Um, but yeah, this team, they're hungry. They want to win. They know there's a path to winning. We know that we can, play with anyone, and we know Kansas is a good team. They're ranked now, and so yeah, it's definitely I would say we were sad after the game, but we're feeling good and confident now.
Guy that's been really confident this season it's been fun to watch him is Keaton Slovis. He targeted you 13 times last week. That was a single game career high from my tracking looking at it. How much do you enjoy, Isaac, being a key piece to this passing game and just a focal point, honestly?
No, it's been really fun. I mean, I think he's been playing really well, and he's been putting the ball in the right spots and making good decisions and making big plays, but also taking, the easy stuff when it comes to him. I think Keaton's a amazing quarterback and has, NFL talent. There was a play where he rolled out to the left and chucked it to Chase on a go ball. And that was amazing pass, one of the best passes I've seen at BYU, and seeing it on film was even cooler. So, yeah, I mean, it's been really fun. I feel like the passing game's been awesome, and A-Rod's been helping me get involved a lot, which has been really cool too. So, yeah, it's been fun.
To piggyback of that, why do you think the passing game has just been so on point this year? It just feels like it's on another level than it's been since you've been here.
Yeah, I would say we're experienced. Me, Chase, Keanu, even Darius and Keelan, we've all, played in big games. One thing I don't understand is you going back to the targets thing. They add a target to my, illegal touching penalty, which makes no sense. I'm like, if it's a penalty, I didn't technically get targeted on that play. So
good point.
I don't know why I just thought about that. I just needed to get that off my chest. But
well,
I don't know why that's a thing.
That penalty was ridiculous against Kansas. That makes no sense.
It was.
Yeah, and I'll back up Keelan. Apparently he checked with the ref, and they called it on the Kansas's other side, which means a coach on Kansas's side was, screaming at the ref saying, look, he's on the ball because we've had problems with that before. So, yeah, I'll back Keelan up. I felt like he was off the ball, but no, yeah, I mean, our passing game it's been fun, but, we need to get the run game going a lot more in order to open the pass game up even more. So we're more of a dual threat team.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that run game, because Aaron Roderick, your OC, did say this week that all 11 guys play a role in an effective ground game. As a tight end, what role do you play in helping that ground attack get going, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, for a tight end, you're on the ball blocking, you're off the ball on the, with the lineman, you're crush blocking, you're wide zone blocking, mid zone blocking. You have to know just as much as the O-line in some cases, your double teams, tray blocks. It's super important. Blocking is very important as a tight end. And I felt like, and we at BYU, my whole time here, we've been super involved in the run game, which has been great to, kind of have a kind of like a dual threat, tight end who can do both in the run game and pass game. It's been really cool that I've had that opportunity here at BYU. But yeah, I mean, it takes all 11 men. There's a lot of plays that could have broke free if you just stay on a second longer. So, whether you're out wide blocking, whether you're a quarterback carrying out, a good angle for a handoff, it's all important. It's all 11 guys doing their job. A tight end is a big, for us, we're a big component in that. So, it's my job to, do better and get in the trenches even more.
Speaking of Aaron Roderick, offensive coordinator, what's he like during the week? How does he address you guys in the meeting room? Like, just what's his demeanor during the week, maybe before you hit the practice field?
Yeah, Aaron's always been a kind of a quiet leader. He's a very smart coach. He knows how to coach, and he has always been. There's a lot of rah-rah coaches out there. I wouldn't say A-Rod is one of them, but every single person, on the offense and on the defense, every player on the team, every coach respects him and what he's done, at Utah or at BYU. And he's had some really good offenses, in the past that he's coached and that he's called plays for. And, I think that A-Rod is, one of the top offensive coordinators in the nation. And, I think he could get a lot of different jobs out there. But he loves BYU. He loves Utah. He loves the state of Utah, and he loves just helping us out. And he's a really good leader, and he coaches us hard. But yeah, he's not a rah-rah guy, but we all respect him.
BYU in Cincinnati, Friday night, 8:15 kick. Do you enjoy Friday night games, Isaac?
The 8:15 has gone pretty late for me ever since I had a kid.
Amen. Yes.
On Tuesday, I think I fell asleep after I came home from practice. I think I fell asleep at 8:45 watching a show. So I'm getting to that point where I'm becoming like my dad, who
No judgment, man. I actually prefer to go to bed at that time. I've just totally embraced it. The earlier, the better.
I know. And when I was a freshman or, even like a couple years ago, I was like, oh, 8:15 is the coolest, get to stay up late. But now I'm like, dang, that is late for me. I'm sorry. I'm like this, I try to get as much sleep as I can, and I do a pretty good job. My son's sleeping pretty well now, but yeah, 8:15, it's been getting later and later since I've been getting older. So, but the Friday night games are always cool just because, you get Saturday and Sunday off, and we get to just relax and enjoy conference. And it's much better after, you get a win. So that's what
I got to ask you, speaking of conference, has your family or you and your wife now, do you have any conference traditions or any treats or snacks you guys like to eat for LDS General Conference?
Well, growing up, my dad always made French toast, and that's the only thing he really ever made. Like, my mom cooked it. That was his one job, was to make some French toast for conference. And then we play conference bingo, just so we can stay alert, stay awake, and have some fun to it. So that was I think you got like $1 if you won conference bingo or something. But with my in-laws, my father-in-law, who's actually a super really good cook, and he can barbecue, he could do it all. He makes crepes for us for conference. So that's a tradition. Then we kind of just hang out and chill. So
are you gonna pick up the French toast mantle? Are you gonna carry that on?
I mean,
probably not.
I'm actually a pretty horrible cook. Like, I'm really bad. I don't have like a complex palate as taste buds. I'm very, like, my in-laws always make fun of me because I grew up just really, it was just meat and rice and some veggies. But my in-laws, they make all types of crazy desserts and different meals. So we'll see. I'll let them do the cooking.
Speaking of food, staying with that topic, Isaac, I always notice this, especially on the road. I think you guys always have like a post-game Chick-fil-A. What's the palate like for the fast food game? Is Chick-fil-A your favorite? Because I feel like that's kind of always the traditional post-game meal on the road. What's the favorite, quick fix drive-through meal at a fast food place?
So fast food. Growing up, I was a huge Taco Bell kid. I'd beefy 5-layer burrito. I'd go to the beach, come back, and if like after being in salt water all day, if you know what it's like to just have Mexican food in your system, it's probably like a top 10 experience after a long day to get some Mexican food in your system. And Taco Bell is always quick and cheap. And so I was a big Taco Bell guy growing up, but I need to take care of my body, so I need to put good stuff in my body. So Chick-fil-A's up there, the egg white grills in the morning. I get that a lot of mornings, more than my wife likes, but I tell her it's kind of an investment, like I'm putting good stuff into my body so that, I can perform better on Saturdays.
Well,
So
I had to ask that because I always find it interesting because you guys are great athletes, and it always like humanizes you a little bit. Like, hey, they're eating the same stuff that I do after a game, like a Chick-fil-A meal. It's always just kind of interesting that they can. I would expect some just nutritious, great meal coming out of the Legends Grill kitchen. It's just fast food.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after games, you just have to put anything in your system because you haven't eaten in a long time, and then I heard something that, like, if you're playing 60 plays, it's like getting in a car wreck every Saturday. Like you're getting hit a lot, and so nutrition is super important. And that's not something I kind of figured out fairly recently. My wife actually, she got her degree in nutrition from UVU, so it was actually exercise science, but I think maybe a minor in nutrition. Like, she knows everything about nutrition, so she helped me out about like getting my diet right and stuff like that. So,
Last food question for you, Isaac. You're at home, so this question doesn't necessarily apply, but on the road, it looks like someone comes down to the Provo airport and hooks you guys up before you get on the plane. Is there a particular meal that you love the most when you show up to the Provo airport to take off on the road and eat on the plane? Because for Kansas, it was what, Costa Vida?
Yeah, Costa Vida for Kansas. Teriyaki, I think it's bowl or grill. It's something that has to do with teriyaki bowl or grill. I think it's based out of Lehigh. I know Braden Kimes, so our right tackle, Braden Kime, his dad owns the spot. And it's the best teriyaki bowl that I've had in Utah. It's so good, man. It's they have like a grilled pineapple on top, and then the grilled pineapple is really good, but it's just the meat's really good, the rice is good, the teriyaki sauce is super good. I've never been to the store personally, but apparently, if you mention you're a BYU football player or something, they'll hook you up with some free stuff. So, yeah, teriyaki bowl, I'm pretty sure in Lehigh is the place that they hook it up for the plane ride, and that's the place to go in Utah for a nice teriyaki bowl.
That sounds good. We'll have to check that out, Matt. I think we'll take up Isaac's recommendation on that spot. Last couple things here for you, Isaac, and we'll wrap this up, make it a little bit of an abbreviated edition here. Cincinnati comes in, and I got to bring this up, one, because you're a tight end, and Cincinnati's maybe most famous alum now at this point is Travis Kelce, and he's just all over the world with this Taylor Swift stuff. Is Travis Kelce a guy that maybe you'd like to? Well, sure, I'm sure you'd like to have his career, but do you like watching him? Do you study him at all?
Oh yeah, he's the best pass catching tight end, in the NFL. It's to do the things that he does is just amazing. And him and Mahomes have such a good relationship that, it's almost like clockwork, when he's getting the ball to Kelce or when he's looking at Kelce. It's so fun to watch on film. And I actually met Travis Kelce when I was a senior in high school. And I think he was probably only maybe 3 or 4 years in the league. He's pretty new in the league. But he was the coolest guy, like such a cool guy. And so he was he was down in Southern California, and John Beck had a couple quarterbacks out there, and he knew that Travis was coming out. So me and my friends, we went and watched him, run some routes. And yeah, he's very technical. very shifty. He knows how to use his leverage really well. Travis Kelce, he's a total stud. So I look up to him a lot.
So did that?
Have you been swept? Go ahead, Mitch.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, was when you met Travis when you were a senior in high school, did you get an inclination that he was a Swiftie back then?
Well, he's a ladies' man in general. So
Yeah.
I think when I was in high school, he had his own reality show called Catching Kelce, and I think it was
Bad
on,
reality show. Oof.
it was it was rough, but I'm sure it was fun for him. Like, who cares? You just bunch of chicks just going after you, and like trying to get you to date them. And of course, I'm pretty sure he didn't even date any of them. It was just all for fun, and he probably made some money off it. So he actually is a master marketer of himself, doing SNL, and I'm sure the dating Taylor Swift does not hurt his bank account. I read somewhere that his sales went up 400% in jersey sales or something. Like, so all the Swifties are just buying Travis Kelce gear, and I'm like, yeah, it's he's not a dumb man. I'll say that he's very smart.
Have you been swept up in the Taylor Swift phenomenon? Are you a Swiftie?
I like a lot of her old stuff. I used to listen to that album a lot. I think it was Fearless, it was called, and Love
That
Story.
is old, man. That was pre-2010.
No, yeah, it was when I was really young. I was probably still in elementary school, at least in the middle of middle school or something. But no, Love Story is a great song. You Belong to Me is amazing. And obviously, like, she kind of went away from country, got more pop. And I kind of, I'm not a crazy pop fan, but I still respect, songs like Shake It Off and I Knew You Were Trouble When You Walked In and stuff like that. And I have a lot of respect for Taylor Swift. I probably would go to a concert if I had the money, but I do not hate Taylor Swift at all.
Last thing for you, Isaac. What's the BYU equivalent to the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift relationship? What's that? What BYU relationship goes on like the pedestal of relationship goals for people out there? You think? It's a tough one.
That's a great question. There's a lot of athletes to athletes relationships, but there's not a lot of like singer to athlete, entertainer to athlete relationships out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of, some.
It's probably Isaac, honestly, the BYU tight end. He marries a Utah Valley volleyball player.
Kingsley's engaged.
Honestly,
Kingsley's engaged to Nani Falatea now.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of athlete to athlete, but I'm trying to think. My wife can sing though. She used to post singing videos and she used to post, like her, singing and playing the piano. So my wife can really sing but she's kind of embarrassed to do it all the time. So yeah, I would say it's me and my wife.
I like that. I was hoping for that answer, Isaac. I was teeing it up for you to let it be you and your wife. That's great stuff. Yeah. Well, best of luck Friday night. I know you got to get to the team hotel tonight, so we'll let you do that, and appreciate the time as always, and we'll touch base next week.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.